friendship, I do feel like that is a big part of this movie. We did talk about it a lot, that we were trying to do a little bit of a friendship emulator, friendship like sleepover simulation type deal. You know, we talked a lot about like, kind of like watching this even too, I was thinking a little bit about like CKY, and we talked a lot about that, but we talked a lot about, watching this I was thinking a lot about Bam Margera, more than usual. But just like Viva La Bam and all those shows, you really kind of felt like, man, I'm in with these guys, I'm watching these guys, I'm hanging out with them, this is so fun, and they're kind of doing what I wish, hopefully soon I will be able to have a castle band of my own. And I'm assaulting my father every day.
That's really beautiful. Are there any good pranks that maybe people could play on their friends?
No, pranks are beautiful. Well, I was thinking about this. Me and my friends used to do prank phone calls where we would call like a place and do a real obvious, like, is your refrigerator running type phone call. But then we would, on the other line, have somebody pick up. We'd always have to do it on landline. This was the early 2000s. We were, I think it was even like late 90s when I was in grade school. Pretend to be a father of that kid. Hey, what are you doing? And then realizing it's a prank phone call, and then you hear him run in the other room and beat the shit. Stop! The other person would be like, stop!
Good pranks?
Yeah.
Man, one time I had actually one of the friends that was there for this is here tonight. All my friends pretended they were dead at my 8th birthday, and I was sobbing. And praying for God to bring them back to life. So I actually wouldn't recommend that shit. Oh, they eventually like woke up. But...
No, like you walked in the room.
Oh yeah, I went to the bathroom and I came out. They were all pretending to be dead.
How long did it take for you to start sobbing?
I don't know, like 2 seconds. You know. What else?
When you're hanging out with the homies, you ever do a little kiss?
Yeah.
Want to do one right now? Okay. Connor, when you're out shooting your stuff, do you ever get like nervous or embarrassed or uncomfortable, and you have to like work through that? And like, what's maybe the most surprising reaction you've ever gotten while shooting in public?
I got that free solo guy gene. There's been several Highline criminal crews who have begged me to join their bank robbing operations because I have shown no fear when I'm in Satan's eye. No, I mean, it's a lot of like, you know, explaining to like teens on a beach, like I'm gonna go in the water and yell and I'm not gonna kill myself, don't call the police. And then being like, why were you on YouTube? I said, yeah, and they said, what's your, and they try to look me up on YouTube and they can't find me, and I'm like, no, you're spelling it wrong. And I'm like, why do I care so much about these young boys knowing who I am? Definitely, I feel like, didn't you and I film something once where...
Which one?
I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of like, yeah, just like, you know, just being weird in public is fun, man. Just being an adult man, and that's why we won the Cold War.
Eric, are you from Seattle?
I am. I grew up in Edmonds, Washington. Shout out. Warriors, Edmonds Woodway.
Where do you go to high school?
Edmonds Woodway. Any Warriors in the crowd tonight? Aye. Respect, amazing school.
Do you have a special message for the hometown crowd?
A respectful message for the hometown crowd. Thank you guys for holding down Washington so hard. Washington State is one of the sickest places I've ever been in my life. Everybody's so kind. That's it. That was what was on my heart. Thank you guys.
What's the secret to being so irresistible to women?
I don't know, just be like empathetic. Empathy is how I get all the women. And be a good listener.
Harris, you're more behind the scenes than in front of the camera. Do you want to share with the audience just sort of like some of the things you're most proud of, or like who's here's Mayersohn?
You know, just a guy, Jewish as mentioned. Not much really, just, you know, for this, just kind of hanging out with friends, taking, yeah. Just kind of behind the scenes and putting this all together. Trying to make it feel like 2009 so everyone could kind of go in and just be themselves and be funny. Yeah, that's pretty much me, man. That's me in a nutshell.
Big respect. What was the process of this movie? How much did you guys shoot, and then kind of what guided the edit?
I think it was 70 hours of footage.
70 to 80 hours. And it was on DV cam, so it's like we had 80 tapes with an hour of footage on it.
Yeah, and there's two editors that worked on this. Jack, who is in it, he watched all 70 hours of footage and made markers. And Jack is, you know, he's an incredible filmmaker and performer, but like he kind of came up like editing like skate videos and stuff like that. So like he never synced sound the whole time. And then the other editor is Danny, who's on camera. He plays the director. And Jack kind of got it. He figured out the kind of framework of it, which is kind of creating this character of Ben, who's the like director who edited it all. And you know, Jack would watch footage with me or Eric and would make marks, and then he kind of we kind of started to figure out it through like the lens of like, okay, so this complete idiot Ben is like editing it horribly, and he's leaving in all these timeline mistakes, and like he doesn't know how to go back and fix stuff. And then it got to the point where we just kind of were so bored with it. It took a really long time to make this, where like we would just like what became fun to us was like, okay, well, what if like, you know, 2/3 through the movie, Ben, the director character, is like, we need to have their title cards up again, like for each character, so people know this is Matt, he's a writer. And that kind of became the fun of it, but that was kind of the breakthrough when we figured that out.
I feel like over your sort of career trajectory, as you've gone on, there's sort of been more and more pathos and like empathy and sadness in your stuff. Is that a conscious decision? Do you get sad a lot?
Yeah, pathos, yes. Of course, I know that word. No, there's no kind of, you know, I'm not Ricky Gervais up here. I think it's kind of just everything is from, you know, this movie is heavily improvised, and, you know, we had like a beat sheet that was very detailed, but I think that, and like, you know, Eric and Harris and Jack and Danny, they all came up kind of doing improv, which is a really disgusting art form. Please don't do it. It's a complete trick. It's a pyramid scheme. But, and kind of, we just kind of create from the place of just kind of intuiting things and just kind of taking it to like a natural place and kind of not really trying to intellectualize that too much, and kind of not being like, okay, we will not tackle toxic masculinity. Like, it's not, never, it's like...
You feel like it's more like reflecting things back from the world, or is it more like looking, like revealing the things inside it?
We've said this before, where it's like, I'm really only like 2 or 3 decisions away from this person. Like, if you talk to my brothers or people I grew up with, it's like, I don't know how he didn't like become like addicted to pills, like, but yeah, I mean, I think it's the same for Eric.
Same.
Do you want to talk a little bit about just like the practical world of having a career and sort of like balancing making your own stuff and just like
My
finding
career as a
yourself-
police officer.
Yeah. How
I'm
did
like
you get the
Ronnie-
gun?
Ronnie
Where
Lewis.
did they give it to you? But yeah, just like working for other people versus doing your own shit, and like, how do you make that all come together?
You need money for, you know, video games and stuff like that. Buy skins on Fortnite. I feel like we all came up in New York. Well, like we came up in Chicago, and you know, we all kind of met in New York, and this movie was like a side project for everybody for like from 2020, like kind of peak COVID, global pandemic COVID, you guys remember that? To like today, I guess. Yeah, you kind of, I don't know, I've worked different comedy writing jobs and stuff like that, and it's really great experience, and you can translate it to your own stuff, and you're able to do it on your own. You know, Eric is working on some shows, and Harris worked at Colbert for a long time.
I mean, the nature of this movie was it took 3 years about from the time they made a short, and it was, you know, the reason it takes so long is because it's everyone's second, third, fourth, fifth job, and just getting everyone together is such a crazy task. But I think when you're working in kind of those professional environments, it can kind of be, you know, you can only write so many like Trump Covfefe jokes, and eventually it's like, oh, I need this outlet of this other thing, and it's, you know, we all kind of, you know, this was kind of a nice reminder of why we want to do comedy beyond, you know, desk jobs, which are, you know, still fun and cool, but not necessarily your vision and voice, which this was really kind of all of our friends who we think are like the funniest people in the world, kind of getting them in to get a little time capsule of what they all do.
Which conspiracies are true?
Pearl Harbor, advanced knowledge, conspiracy theory. Raise your hand. Trying to do a rap battle against one of us? Okay, we'll do that later.